Hello, everybody. I'm back. Remember, we left off at video 8B or 8.5 because 8 was a little long. And what was that topic? See, 8. Well, welcome to this YouTube channel, first of all. Hashtag love still matters. And if it's your first time to the channel, thank you for watching if you watch, or lucky me that you stopped by or helped by. If you watch this entire video, this is a series of videos, a journey towards healing with regards to slavery and racism, in a chronological order, like a timeline going all the way back and further than that. So about 500. Figure out, how did we get here? Not like, how did Africans get to this country? Basically, was on a slave ship. Most of us know that. No, how did we get to this point of who and what thought or power or necessity created or harnessed slavery in the first place? So to get that information, you need to go back. Please read the introduction video and or watch the introduction video. I'm sorry, read the description. That will give you more information as to what this series is about, what I'm trying to get out of it, which is healing, racial injustice, systemic racism, police brutality against Black bodies, blah, all of it. I was about to say blah, 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 but I didn't on. So to watch them, just remember to watch them in order so you can keep up, because then each video, I do a little recap of the previous video, but for you to keep up with the historical timeline, which is huge, a vast history, and to just feel like you're actually going along on this journey towards healing. I'm sure a lot of people at this point don't feel like that's maybe possible. And then, of course, if you're a Christian, and I am, and if you're wondering, well, I can't tell by the way you're dressed. But anyway, then you'll know that all things are possible through Christ, who strengthens us. And we know that. And it didn't say that all things are easy through Christ. It's just that they're possible. So hopefully, if you have felt and feel that this is an impossible feat, an impossible journey, then watch and see if your mind can somehow be updated. And again, you can watch this entire video, because I don't want to say warn, but I expressed to any viewers that in this video is going to be something, so that if for some reason you hadn't been getting as far as the historical aspect of things, like the who, what, when, why, and where on earth, what in the world, was going on there, and do it in the manner that it was done, and as long as it was done, and have such lasting repercussions till today. I mean, literally today's date, Labor Day 2020. Yeah, today. And so there's lots of information out there, and seems to be a whole lot more since the tragic, all of the tragedies, tragic and senseless, and yeah, So this video is going to be a whopper, but I highly recommend that when you have the time, you go back and start at the beginning, and then and see how uh, finding out about things you didn't know can further enlighten you. So, well, just how can this healing be possible? Maybe it'll make you join us along on this journey as we continue on. And by the way, this is a new channel, so of course, you're going to see me. Maybe I and the few others, and I thank God for them and thank you, a few others, um, we'll be going along this journey by ourselves, or I will be going along on this journey live streaming most of the time and doing many uploads. And thus I will heal. And then I can do some videos and let everybody know how I healed and how my healing is going. So I intend look at any of the other videos. Pick one. Even though I want you to stay in order, but this I can't tell you what to do. Pick one. And there may be some skipping because I see an error message that periodically pops up about trying to reconnect. So apologize for a frozen shot, or maybe, and you can still hear me talking, but if I notice it too many times, I will end the stream and start it again so that we don't have too many interruptions. Because as I said, I really want to get into, is that my hot sauce y'all can see? Really? You know what I'm saying? See how you try to have this stuff set up in advance? Oh, if this is your first time watching, you can very quickly, stop or go to my channel and see that I'm hometown, home girl. That doesn't mean I want you guys looking at hot sauce. That might make you hungry or something. Really? Let's see. We can't. I don't know. Just move it. You know what I'm saying? Hot sauce. Even though now, why do you think I have it on the shelf next to my bed? So I can, when I get a little taste for something spicy, I can pour it on some Fritos in a bowl. So, any Hoosiers, well, I don't know if I want to say happy Labor Day. I know everybody's not happy. There are a lot of unhappy things going on. But for those of you that brave the celebration somehow, mask or not, hope you're safe. Hope you're having fun. Hope you had a fun day. And that to carry on and hopefully survive all of these issues that plague the country and that have plagued the country for a very long time, which is the subject of this video series. How about that? Okay. So let's get on with it. And I am seeing that message. I try to keep these videos supposedly to 30 minutes or less. But as you can see, if you go back, and there's several under 30 minutes, I've done my studying, lots of it, lots of preparation. But I'm actually going along this healing journey with you all or myself. And so I have to look at it after the fact. My natural personality, you're getting my feelings, you're getting my reactions to this very deep and long and dark and arduous and difficult history and subject. And of course, I'll try to be as respectful as possible. Not single anyone out. I'm not here to make anyone feel. I'm here to make us all super depressed. And, that's healing. Obviously, is a process, and if you will, a grieving process that is not easy. So, hopefully, you can appreciate my authenticity, my down homeness, and just to be honest with you, the fact that I care. So without further ado, away from my notes, let's get started with video number 9, slavery and racism, and of course, all that's in between. Review the description and watch the intro video. A healing journey. Hashtag love still matters. It's the name of this channel. All right, here we go. Put some eyes on it, right? Well, I don't know about you, but I do. So we finished video 8 and 8B on the note of how in 1650 the British were minor bystanders of the slave trade. They didn't have much to do with it, you know. And by 1700, 10 years later, they were emerging as the largest Atlantic slave trading nation, overtaking Portugal. Portugal's trade and the use of slave labor, not ending it, but largest means pretty much you're in the lead or just about to be. Okay. And that came into being from too long but trust me, I don't mean that there should be excitement like, yay, here shortly, you're going to find out why. But Britain captured Jamaica and from Spain in 1655, and it served as a base. British had a very strong naval supremacy by then, and that's already been discussed. And bottom line, there was a license created, ENTO, and it was a license. It must have been one big gigantic one, because it didn't appear that, like in modern times, you go and get licensed to do this or that profession or something. Well, this appeared to be the, kind of like the Murphy's Law. He that hold the goal or hath the goals makes the rule. So this was a big licensure, one-shot deal for whoever had this license to do the majority of the slave trading. Let's just kind of put it that way, and look back at the other videos for that information and the sources by which that information came, that I got that information from. Okay. All right. And by 1760, Britain possessed 23 colonies. And as the colonies grew, I'm just going to end on the same line that ended video 8 as far as the review, if you will, of already documented archival factual information that I've studied and pulled together from many sources. As those colonies grew, well, duh, so did plantation owners and slave traders. I mean, bigger, 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 bigger. Okay, so that was video 8 and 8B. Now, video 9 that I gave a little warning, if you will, about. Here we go. Finally, right? Like, get to it, lady. Chicky poo. All right. Pen and paper, folk, for you note takers and fact checkers and help me outers, if that's what you feel you need to correct me over and what have you. And just wanting to learn. I try to speak clearly enough and slowly enough so that you don't have to rush your notes. Like I've had to with quite a few videos that I've watched and documentaries and whatnot. I've Pause, really. But hey, we're all in different lives and lifestyles. Maybe people have places to go and things to do, and trying to do videos and whatnot is not their only deal. So, they have to, disseminate that very important information and get on with it. So, kudos to them. Knowledge is power. Communication is key. So, let's get on with getting some more knowledge through this communication forum, YouTube, that's been made available that wasn't around back in the day. Back in the gap is one of my sayings, but y'all get it, back in the day, some decades ago. Okay. All right. Here are some sources to write down where this information can be found and further studied, because I can't give you all of this information in one video, hundreds of lifetimes. So study, go check it out. Not just a fact check, but read a lot of this stuff on your own time. So go to, write this down. Social engineering of slave breeding. Again, social engineering of slave breeding. Like breeding animals. Okay, yeah, that word, breeding. And then you can write down the PMS show, and not another S for show, but it just goes right into THEPMSHOW.TV. You can look into something called Move Rabbit Proof Fence. Now, I know that's not good grammar, so apparently it's more of a title than a sentence. Move Rabbit Proof Fence / breeding the black out of slaves. Breeding the black. The color out is has a little emphasis, not quotes, but emphasis things around, of slaves. Okay. Unless I put the emphasis, or whatever it is pretty emphasizing. Okay. And then another source. Hey, here's the Philip Matthews Show. The Philip with O reference slave breeding. I think you guys are starting to understand what this video number 9 is going to be about. Doesn't sound real, maybe interesting, but it doesn't sound real good, does it? Well, not to me, but here we go. And so maybe slave breeding history. So the Philip Matthews Show, slave breeding history. I don't want to, leave sources, accurate sources out in their fullness, so that they're getting their credit for their work and their research and their documentaries and their videos and webinars and seminars, either of those sources that I gave you. Okay, I'm just sharing along this healing journey and trying to do it to the best of my ability and trying to do it right. Okay. All right. So apparently slave breeding was legalized. Right? Duh. Constitutionalized. Well, that was just the exploitation justification. Because if it's illegal, then what? Then it must not be wrong. We know that's not true. We know right from wrong. All right. In the 1820s and 30s, this is like a little side note here within the same arena of sources and learnedness and studying. Maybe that's the same thing. Anywho, between the or the 1820s and 1830s, let's just throw this in there to give credit where it's due again, for what credit, the word credit, how often it can't be used on this long and arduous, horrific history and topic. But we do want to give that credit when we see it where it is due. Abolitionist movements were in, people against slavery, like stop it and abolish it. This stuff is no good. It's not right. Get rid of it. 1820s and 1830s. But the problem is globally, and remember, go back for you, the new watchers or first time watchers, if you're still watching, you're going to have to go back, because what I did is I did a backdrop of kind of like history class, it seemed like, to give us that, if you will, a global understanding of how powers rose and fell, or and were able to take over and harness the slave trade industry. And the Atlantic slave trade is what as we know it, is what we're accustomed to knowing and hearing and saying. And so please go back and review those videos, because see, when we get to little words like this, if I didn't do that historical background history, like, what? I thought this was about something. She's going all the way, empires and power and wealth and what have you. Well, then, that helps us along. If I say one word or half a sentence or something, and you go, okay, well, whatever, you can match as we go along. Important aspect of slavery and its history and its ins and outs with important, because regardless of the abolitionists, people that wanted slavery abolished, did you know they existed? There are people, white people, Caucasians, Europeans. I see that little message there. So when I see that message that the channel is trying to reconnect, I may just kind of pause, because it's going to pause me anyway. But anywho, regardless of that abolitionist movement, of those non-Africans that wasn't for this slavery deal at all, well, it was a global entry needed by then, so that they were a godsend. But all of the things, and you can go and do a study on abolitionist movements, and fortunately wasn't as powerful, obviously, or we wouldn't be talking about hundreds of years of bondage and oppression to Africans, of which I am a descendant. Thankful still to the abolitionists from back then, and their movement and movements and efforts and all of it. So global industry it was needed, it was powerful, it was the way that it was. Now let's get into this breeding thing, because this is something else. And let me say this now. Obviously, I'm of African descent, if I have to say that. And I am a female, woman that, typically we most in nature have children, are able to have children, some which a way or another. It's just natural. So as a Black woman, descendant of this situation that these African women and you know what? Well, it's a holiday. A lot of people are probably online, and I have a good idea as to what a lot of people are watching, but it's okay. Um, I mean, talk about cutting close to home. I mean, I understand people. Well, that was way back then, and was we're in the now and stuff. So, well, not to my knowledge, but that doesn't make this good or right. Those are my ancestors. Those were human beings, whether anybody thought they all were or not, based upon color or how dark. It was hot. It's hot over there. It's a lot of sun. Put some out in the sun and see your patio chair, whatever, and see if it keeps its color. It's gonna get dark or something. Anyway, these were people. They could have been any race of people. They just happened to be African. And I happen to be an African descendant. So yes, it's hurtful and through these glasses and whatever, you'll see my eyes bucking and some frowns here and there. I mean, am I supposed to be laughing? No. So let's get on with it already, because see emotion. I have my paper towel ready because I haven't dropped the tears yet. One day I thought I was going to let. The average lifespan of a woman who was surprise, it says woman, an African slave who was bred, because the slave trade was difficult, for the owners and traders, and the travel and the people to work on the ship, and dealing with the after effects of capturing, kidnapping, droves of people, of Africans, and then the voyage to different ports where African slaves were taken to. That was, a lot too much for the Africans. Let's not get that twisted and compare what they were going through to how difficult this slave trade, and costly and whatever obviously was for this powerful and wealthy empires and countries and whatnot. But it was hard enough on everybody concerned, apparently, getting the African slaves to their destinations of, for the most part, forever horror until their deaths. For most of them, and for the most part. Trip, one way, not even a ticket, because tickets are things that we choose to buy. Just a one-way trip. No two-way, U-turn, none of it. See, already that the average lifespan or during the average lifespan, we'll get to the average lifespan of an African slave woman, it was expected, requested, desired, wanted for her to have 20. I've skipped a thought. I brought up the ship travel and all of that part because when that was abolished, where you could no longer go and get African slaves to port them and travel them and port them and disembark them here and there for slavery. Well, you still needed slave labor. You still needed laborers, plantations everywhere. Sugar cane, cotton, I mean, just, really? Slaves, if you're not going to get more slaves from Africa. Well, how else do we reproduce? Do we get here? How did I get? How did you get here? You have babies. But in most cases, especially in modern times, it's by choice. And some people, oops, accident. But I mean, not this history here. What we going over? This was the deal, and not a good deal. Looks like at all. The breeding age group was averaged 12 years old to 28 years old. Get going, get started, having babies, more workers to grow up, to help out around here. The plantation, the fields, and all of it. Start breeding at 12. If possible, through 28, I guess that was considered prime time or something. And the average African slave, be it whatever age they were out of that group, they were generally only able to produce 3 to 6, no more than about 8 children. And that's quite a bit. We all know that. I come from the age of big families, and I think that was the end of the huge families of 8 and 10 and whatnot, other than the few, rare and interesting stories that we hear about, read about, watch on different medias around the world, big families. But, just, so 25 to 30 children is what was wanted of the African slave woman. And they got 6 or 8 that, looked like they were way behind on that 25, 30. But guess what would happen? Guess what would happen? To influence, entice, pick a word that's synonymous with influence and entice or persuade in a vigorous kind of way. Just pick one. The female African slaves, okay, obviously I think we know by it's possible, like that 25 to 30 bunch. That's way past the Brady bunch, way, really. They were offered, I don't want to say gifts. I believe I've read that. So when you do your own study, you might see the word gift, but they were certainly offered things. For extra something another to birth as many as they could, so that they could, I guess that was supposed to be a win-win or something. The plantation got more potential replacement, slaves from the bred slaves versus the transported slaves that was abolished at a certain point. To just have as many as you can, and we're gonna get to even that a little bit more. because it wasn't just, can you please have it? It wasn't just that. Now remember, slavery was no choices. That was about no choices. No choice to be taken as a slave, no choices on the slave ship. So this is not about, well, I get it. So, I guess I'll try to have a couple more. No, it was not that simple. So these favors, extra favors or privileges, just to, if you had more than than most or the average, then you were going to get some favor of sorts. I'm not talking about party favors, and so go to those sources and many others and read all about it. But as a result of all of that, trying to reconnect, and I was just so motivated to do this today. And so hopefully, as I rewatch this live stream, if it is just, then how about I'm probably just going to redo it, because it is just that important. But I know today is a holiday and a lot of people are online, and I keep seeing that message saying we're some trouble, we're trying to reconnect. And I know that means it freezes you and maybe cuts a word off or two. And either it never happens, or I'm going to trudge on here. But as a really, to live past 35 years old. So when you see, I'll just hesitate when I see that message. So when you see documentaries, films that are factual, ones and factual information, and you see older female slaves or former, well, there's no living slaves now. They either weren't able to bear as many children. They were just, well, I don't know about the word fortunate, because fortunate during slavery, especially at its height, and just about any part of it, I don't even know if the word fortunate is even, but you all get it. 35 was about it for these breeders. To live, if they were in a situation that they were maybe well accustomed to, maybe they were near their parents or siblings that hadn't been sold off or run off, and they established some bonds or whatever, and they wanted to keep those bonds going. That's all they had. What were friend or family time. They had to kind of, keep on the hush and the sneak and with their own parents and children. Well, the breeding groups, they had to about age 30 to 35. That's really sad. I was gonna say that's a doggone shame, but I thought I'd say this. It's both, right? Well, to me it is. And of course, lots of complications in childbirth, because there's complications in childbirth now with modern medicines. In the days time, as medicine and technology has advanced itself and been advanced by others, by scientists and doctors, there's still lots that can go on and go wrong with pregnancy and even getting pregnant and childbirth and all. So this, many as you can, really. And guess what? You can't even guess it. I know. That's just how I talk. I talk down home. I'm at home. So This is not what TV stations? No, no. It's hashtag love still matters to me, to God, and hopefully to some of y'all out there, and obviously to a few of the YouTubers, because I see they have that same title within their channel name without the hashtag. Anywho, now what the opposite thing was, if you didn't have or couldn't bear children, or maybe was, a fighter, resistant, like really, no, and I just, the first one was too hard. I don't know. I wasn't back there. I don't even. You had to work more like the men, since you wasn't seeming to be too female-ish in the reproduction arena. Then you have to work longer and harder, because you're not producing. So now let's get that. And let's go. I'm gonna go on and tell y'all now, because I'm going to, in case I didn't say it, let's say it now. I'm going to end, if you will, part 1 of our healing journey, even though I didn't put part 1 in the beginning, but I believe I can go back and edit and put part 1 of the healing journey of the first 10 videos. I'm going to say that's the end of part 1. I don't know how much healing we're going to have, but with the Lord's help, I'm getting some, on this subject, because I'm open. I'm willing to do this. It's a journey, it's a road. So we got to stay on the road. Boy, the internet is just on top of it today. We're going to get to that. Anyhow, see, I'll be trying to make me give y'all no surprises too soon. Okay. So, well, what a horrible set of choices within the horror of slavery, really. Horror. Breed a bunch of babies, get a few favors, privileges. Can't breed, don't breed enough, and work harder like a man out there. Let's keep going, because again, as a female stuff that myself as a child of God has been given, and the name on my birth certificate, really, the name of my pause. Maybe I'll just start seeing pause when I see the reconnection thing. Strike a pose. Look like this ain't gonna be doing this. So let's do the best we can, because obviously there's some connection issues going on that are not that normal, but it's a holiday, so y'all understand how that goes. Maybe I'll strike a pose or make my own pause so y'all will get that I'm seeing that message. Okay. Scenario. And what was I saying before the thing? As a descendant of African slaves and a woman, whether I could have had children naturally or not, or in vitro, whatever kind of, all kinds of ways. This just made my stomach hurt just a little bit. It is really, if there is no empathy out there from not just Black women and Black people and obvious descendants of slaves, mixed race, abolitionist type people and advocates and stuff, that's beautiful still. But I'm talking about, really, like, if you didn't know, or, it's like, what's the problem? Why is all this racism and slavery talking stuff? Yeah, we know Black killings, police, George Floyd and stuff. But, these people, why are they protesting, complaining so much? Well, go back and review some of the videos that I've don't even want to imagine what one must feel like. Because that would be if it were you, for instance, like your great, 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 great grandma, whatever. I don't know how many greats, but what, 4 or 5 or something? Well, whatever. That's your family. Huh. And with that breeding, was typically dating of one male to the female. I mean, that may sound like, well, what? Well, what else were they doing? Well, but breeding was, you know, a system of things developed only by slave labor discipline. Um, this is so much information. So there'll be a separate full study with regards to the black male slave and breeding. You all can imagine, you know. But I'm gonna throw just a few things on this because this is about women. This is about mothers. This is about pregnancy. But not as we know it in modern new. So males and females were often not allowed to marry unless their master chose someone for them, for instance. And through that, if they could have children, there they go. Or so if you happen to catch somebody's eye, whatever, where you just gonna be eyeballing, especially if they even stay on the plantation without getting sold, because that is all about you gonna get is an eyeball looking. I kind of like who you like, really. The breeder males were kept in cages. They were checked for their strength and size and all of it, height. They were checked for their abilities to produce. And like I said, that's going to be a different video because I can't put them both in one because I'll be either mad or crying or snot rolling down or something. I can't put them in one. But you all kind of get the point on that. Pregnancy doesn't come by osmosis. So, well, and check this out, because ovulation wasn't really that understood back then. So breeding was attempted when a female slave couldn't even get pregnant. Try. Not time, but who knew? And so then that was perceived as, oh, so you can't have it then, or you slow, or you lagging behind. Get on out there and work harder. Isn't that something? Wowie. And if and because pregnancy, breeding, many is upwards of those average numbers and above when I see something going on. If it wasn't working out, before it was just given up on, well, get somebody, get another one in here to try. And another one. And another one. Another one. Who am I talking about is another one. Another black male. Yeah, the ones that were, in the breeding deal. Maybe we missed something with him. Maybe it was a mismatch. Get another one in here. The black female body. And the black male body too. But they weren't getting pregnant and having these children. But still. And I said number 9 was going to be something, I just meant it was going to be tough. All of this is tough, really. Let's just say, for the sake of maybe that need to be another whole video. Sadly, the male breeder, I don't want to say stud because that just sounds like, people use that word like jokey joke or something. So, but y'all give it them in the African male slave in the breeding part was very well, was a close relative of that woman. Real close relative. Well, okay, anyway. That in and of itself is just like another whole, add on. I was gonna say ball game, but again, I'm trying not to use words that's like, yeah, the ball game, like it's fun. Really? No. That's another whole universe. Breeding is breeding. This wasn't about dating. I didn't say dating. It's mating. Breeding is about mating, not dating. Not necessarily love or attraction even, or choosing. No. People that have been around farms and animals long enough know exactly. But I'm thinking just research, look that up, then you'll really get it. Ugh. But I'm talking about real close relatives. Because whatever, because just because they was a relative to you, again, if they weren't sold to another plantation, because that happened quite often. You guys have seen either depictions in movies, or you've, I'm sure, seen factual data in films and documentaries on certain aspects of slavery. Slaves were, get it, the slave trade, auctions, selling slaves, hello. So your best friend and brothers and first cousins and kids and daddies and all this kind of stuff, and now you see them and now you don't. Or now you've been seeing them, but it's breeding time. Yeah, I said, did I? Did I stutter? I said it. To take my glasses off. I'm not, am I smiling? But this is history, and we're trying to heal. We have to be reminded of that somehow. Thank God for God. So now think about that. Because that other whole universe ball game thing, boy, did I pick maybe not the greatest day to be in the YouTube community. Everybody's online. But that's okay. Watch this and see if it went over well enough to leave it as it is, because this is live. So this is me. I can't exactly repeat my reactions or responses. I'm not acting. And I will be uploading videos too, but I just started my channel. Just have that kind of courage. With the help of the good Lord. I know somebody that says that all the time. I just did it. But for real, as a Christian myself, yes, with the help of the good Lord to get through this. He's gotten us this far. Us, as in us, descendants of African slaves in the United States and around the world, and abolitionists, and even if you weren't an abolitionist at the time, or if you're not a descendant of an abolitionist and you don't like slave history, racism stuff, and all of that, don't even understand it even, then yes, with the help of the good Lord, prayerfully we will come together better than we have on this. We as a whole. I'm not me. I'm cool. That information. Okay, so it's at an hour and 4 and something minutes with a little pause. Maybe like an hour and 10 minutes, because that's already long. Because like I said, 9 is going to be a 9B and possibly a 9C, because I got something for you. The exploitation, the abuse, the maltreatment, the mistreatment, the horror of it all, of the female body, breeding, and the males, to their role, but different video for another. These women. What about think about the psychological and physical implications of such a thing? The breeding system. Multifaceted, multi-generational. Remember when I said sometimes close family member? That's the law, the system, the way. Forced. Obviously, that would cause relational and familial issues. Then, remember, we know, as adults know, most of us, that, there was a lot of selling of slaves and from plantation owners and whatnot, and across state lines and so forth. So that already, produced separation anxiety. Like today, I'm talking to my sibling, maybe gone forever from my sight. So now you got another forever. You got forever gone from Africa, And then you got forever gone from the plantation that your biological immediate family members may have been bought and initially on for years. Then kaboom, the need or the reason for selling off. So somebody ran low or something. Separation anxiety. What about the mother, the women producing, breeding? And we know some of them were mixed. We know that. And we know why. Different video, but still within the point of this one. For real. If you're steadily being forced to breed, to get pregnant, how do you have time to bond, to, with the first one or two or three, when this is the keep it rolling? Really? That's not nice. That's not humane. That's not normal. And then, please, babies that were taken away for a few different reasons. Another different video, a horrible one. As far as the information, not that any of this is what's less horrible. Lasted entirely too long. And the racism that came with it and the repercussions that followed us on here and there and everywhere. No kind of bonding at that point on that tip. Just think about that. Well, maybe some of this stuff, just because we might have a need to learn and know and grow and be enlightened and healed. And it's an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to stop them after that. All right. Because we're ending the journey, the first part of the journey at 10 anyway. So you guys will get a little break, but trust me, I'll be coming right back at you with part 2. Got to stay this road, especially with everything that's going on. We can't get off the road. We got to stay on this road. That's why y'all think I'm on here on Labor Day. This is important. Okay, it's 1:11. I did not say 1:10. See, look at me. End stream. Bye. See you in a minute.